When the world is just too much, turn it off and turn on positive, encouraging K-Love.
I'm gonna praise.
World off. K-Love on.
K-Love is sunshine for my soul.
I love K-Love.
Listen now on your radio, online, or on the free K-Love app.
K-Love makes me feel so good.
Positive, encouraging K-Love.
Each week on Culinary Confidential, Christina Cates, a seasoned foodie who has worked at some of New York City's top restaurants, will share her passion for the culinary world. Whether you're a professional chef, a restaurant enthusiast, or a lover of good food, Christina dives into the heart of hospitality, exploring the trends, triumphs, and challenges facing the food service profession. And you won't want to miss her chats with some of the most interesting and influential industry voices. And now, please take your seat at the table as Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates starts now, exclusively on AM 970, The Answer.
Welcome to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates. This show is produced in association with my dear friend, Lucas A. Ferrara. There's something happening in Chicago right now that deserves national attention. Not just because the restaurants are good, they are, but because the city understands something deeper about food culture. Chicago understands identity. It understands craftsmanship and hospitality that feels rooted, unpretentious, and deeply human. And tonight, we're diving into one of those brands helping define that energy in a major way, Robert's Pizza and Dough Company. For anyone who's been listening to this show lately, you've probably noticed something. I keep finding myself back in Chicago. And honestly, there's a reason for that. Because while cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami tend to dominate the national food conversation, Chicago has quietly and consistently built one of the most exciting culinary ecosystems in America. It's a city where fine dining and neighborhood comfort coexist beautifully. A place where Michelin-starred tasting menus can exist just blocks away from some of the best tavern-style pizza you'll ever eat. There's history there, there's grit there, there's soul there. Chicago isn't trying to perform hospitality. It lives it. And what fascinates me most is that Chicago's food scene feels incredibly collaborative. There's innovation happening, but without losing authenticity. There's creativity, but also restraint. Technique, but no ego. The city respects legacy while still pushing boundaries. That balance is incredibly difficult to achieve. And if you really want to understand a city, look at its pizza culture. Pizza in Chicago is almost political. It's emotional. It's personal. People defend styles, neighborhoods, ovens, crusts, and traditions with the kind of passion usually reserved for sports teams. And yet, somehow, Robert's Pizza and Dough Company has managed to carve out a lane entirely its own. This isn't just another pizza spot. This is a concept built around fermentation, dough science, hospitality, atmosphere, and a genuine respect for ingredients. I have been fortunate enough to eat there, and when I tell you I cannot stop thinking about it, it would be a huge understatement. I have 3 words for you. Duck prosciutto pizza. My God. But contrary to what you might realize, great pizza is deceptively difficult. Everybody thinks pizza is simple until they try making exceptional pizza consistently. Dough alone is a living thing. Hydration levels, fermentation timing, flour protein percentages, temperature control, yeast activity, water chemistry, these details matter. A few grams off and the entire structure changes. A few extra minutes and the texture changes. Pizza sits right at the intersection of science and artistry, and the best operators in the world understand that. And that's why tonight's guests are so exciting. I'm joined by Dana Hoken and Robert Garvey, the minds behind a company that's become one of the most talked about pizza destinations in Chicago. They've built something that feels elevated without becoming inaccessible, sophisticated without becoming pretentious, cool without trying too hard, and in hospitality that's incredibly rare. Because the truth is, consumers today are more educated than ever. People travel more, they dine out more, they understand ingredients more. Social media has changed the way we discover restaurants entirely. A guest can see a pizza from Chicago, Tokyo, Naples, or New York in seconds. Expectations are higher now. Diners aren't just looking for food. They're looking for experience, authenticity, atmosphere, storytelling, and emotional connection. And Robert's Pizza and Dough Company seems to understand that entire equation. This acclaimed Chicago pizzeria is known for its artisan sourdough crust and guiding ethos, love dough responsibly. Opened just months before the pandemic, Robert's has grown into an internationally recognized, award-winning independent restaurant named by Italy's top 50 pizza among the world's best pizzerias. Hoken leads the brand's vision, operational culture, and business strategy. With more than 2 decades of experience building hospitality-driven ventures, she previously transformed the Bitter End Yacht Club in Virgin Gorda from a family retreat into an iconic international destination. Her work at Roberts reflects a deep commitment to workforce development, hospitality leadership, and community engagement. Garvey leads the restaurant's distinctive Joe program. A certified pizzaiolo, he brings a unique blend of disciplines to his craft. He is a marine engineer by training and holds an MFA in playwriting from Carnegie Mellon. His analytical and creative background informs Robert's signature approach to dough production, menu development, and the systems that ensure consistency in a high-volume environment. Partners in both life and business, Ogden and Garvey began developing their pizza at home, experimenting with dough for fun and sharing it with friends around their dining room table. Years of refinement ultimately led the opening of Robert's Pizza and Dough Company, now widely recognized as one of Chicago's leading pizzerias. What I love about concepts like this is that they represent a larger movement happening in America dining right now. The elevation of comfort food. We're seeing chefs and restaurateurs take foods once considered casual or everyday and treat them with the same level of precision as fine dining. Bread programs became serious. Burger concepts became serious. Barbecue became serious. And pizza? Pizza has become one of the most respected culinary crafts in the country. And Chicago has become one of the cities leading that charge. In fact, many food critics now consider Chicago one of the most balanced culinary cities in America because it excels at every level. It has world-class tasting menus, incredible immigrant food culture, iconic old-school institutions, shout out to Gibson's Restaurant Group, experimental concepts, neighborhood staples, cocktail innovation, bakery culture, and one of the strongest hospitality work ethics anywhere in the country. There's a reason so many chefs stay in Chicago instead of leaving it. The city allows creativity while still respecting value and community. There's substance there. And honestly, I think America is craving substance again. We're in an era where diners increasingly care about craftsmanship, right? They want to know where ingredients come from. They appreciate handmade processes. They respect businesses that obsess over the details. And when you look at the rise of artisan pizza culture specifically, you realize it's become almost a culinary language of its own. Fermentation, wood fire techniques, regional flour sourcing, natural starters, dough aging, crust culture, sauce balance, cheese application. It sounds simple until you realize the best pizza makers are operating with almost the mindset of bakers and chefs combined. That's why tonight's conversation matters beyond pizza itself. Tonight is about entrepreneurship. It's about hospitality. It's about building culture inside a restaurant. It's about understanding why certain cities become culinary capitals. And it's about how food creates emotional memory. Because some restaurants feed people, and some restaurants become part of people's lives. So tonight we're heading back to one of America's great food cities with 2 people helping shape its modern culinary identity. But first, I have to acknowledge that it's Father's Day. My guest tonight, Robert, is a dad. And guess what? Coincidentally, my dad's name is Robert too. I mean, I didn't plan this, right? And I know I am biased, but I am fortunate enough to have the undisputed best dad in the game. I'm 42 years old and have grown adult friends that ask if my parents can adopt them. Both of my parents are wonderful, but my dad grew up surrounded by just all women. He had 13 Irish aunts, 3 sisters, and then he went ahead and had 3 daughters. So to say he knows how to show up for me is an understatement. Whether I need a light bulb changed, a necklace fixed, or business advice, he's there. Not only is he a great dad, but he's an amazing grandfather. As a single mom, it's important for me that my boys have a strong, stable man to look up to, and they have that with Robert Cates. He's the hardest working person I know, and where I truly believe I get my work ethic from, and has built a really beautiful life for himself and for our family, to which I am so grateful. The entire reason I can't entertain most of these men in the dating pool is because the bar was set a little too high for me from the very beginning, and I mean that in the best way. So happy Father's Day to all of the Roberts in my life, especially mine, and all of the amazing dads out there. Dana Ogden and Robert Garvey of Robert's Pizza and Dough Company, welcome to the show. I am so excited you were able to make this happen, come to New York. For the listeners, I mean, I've been working on Dana and Robert since December, okay? So that's a long time. So I'm really glad we were able to get together to do the show tonight. And I know you're in New York, right, for some exciting things, which we will get to. But I want to thank, obviously, my friends Sophie and Shayna for bringing us all together. I was in Chicago a few months ago, and Shayna had recommended we do this architectural boat tour of the city, and I said, okay, fine, let's do it. It happened to be the coldest day of the month that day, so it was slightly miserable. We were clutching our little jackets we had for the full 2 hours. And then when we got off the boat and we walked down the pier, it was like Robert's Pizza. It was just like the light at the end of the tunnel. And we ran in there and we had the most delicious pizza and red wine all afternoon. It was truly remarkable. So thank you for that. I have my new favorite things are the duck prosciutto pizza and the meatballs. And I have to tell you, your meatballs are better than Rayo's, okay? I said it here. And I never order meatballs when I go out because I'm just, whatever, it's a ball of meat. It has like the same flavor everywhere you go. Not yours. They are so tender, juicy, and flavorful. I swear to God, I told everyone I knew about the pizza and the meatballs at Robert's. So I am so excited you're here tonight.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us on. This is truly an honor.
Oh, we're just getting started here,
right.
Robert. Let's just start from the beginning. I heard that you were making the pizzas at your house?
Yes. So when we, obviously we grew up in New York, and when we moved to Chicago almost 30 years ago.
Wow.
The one thing that I found about Chicago is that pizza is not on every corner like I was used to here in New York. I mean, literally growing up in Queens, there were 4 pizzerias on the way to school.
Yeah.
So I had a slice-a-day habit. So
Slice a day keeps the doctor away.
that's right. And Chicago, having to drive to go get a slice just wasn't something I could wrap my arms around. So I figured, well, it wouldn't be that hard. I'll start making pizza at home. Can't be that difficult. Boy, was that an understatement. It's really hard. And 8 years later, we finally had a recipe that we truly enjoyed.
It took 8 years.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm really obsessive baking and all kinds of different iterations, different styles. I learned how to do everything from Neapolitan to New York to deep dish to tavern. And then I sort of took all that knowledge and made my own recipe and kind of created something fairly unique.
So what do you consider your style?
It's an thin crust artisan style pie, but it's it's chewy, it's crunchy, it's got that great artisan bread flavor to it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of really sort of stands out. And that's
I
why
think so too.
That's why we entered the market in Chicago, because we felt, Chicago has great pizzas. It's a pretty busy pizza market, but we thought that we'd be a little bit different and stand out.
And stand out you did. Dana, what do you think?
What Robert isn't sharing is that we turned our kitchen into essentially a laboratory or a garage. I mean,
of course he would leave those details out.
The kitchen really became the lab. I mean, Robert would just find different types of tools, or we would want to control the temperature, so we set the kitchen up in certain ways. The passion was very visible, and our daughter grew up thinking, I think everybody did this in their kitchen. But, we used to have dinner parties. I mean, what we would do when you were making this, we made a lot of pizza. So we would invite friends over for dinner, kind of like a focus group. It was a dinner party. Everybody loves pizza. And we invited them to, give us feedback. And then we discovered everybody has their own pizza technique. And so it became, big topic of conversations. People wanted to come back weekly to see, impact what their comments may have inspired in our new iteration of the pizza. And this went on for 8 years, as
Wow.
Robert is saying. But we ended up with people coming to our home, sitting around our dining room table. By the end of this, we didn't know who any of them were. They were friends of a friend of a friend of a friend.
I love it.
And it was getting...
Look at the smirk on Robert's
He loved
face.
it. He loved it. He would have kept going, feeding everyone out of our house. I was like, either we do something with this.
We move it out of our house
or we
and into a brick and mortar.
Right, we shut this down. And obviously we weren't going to shut it down because this was like a huge passion. The other thing that Robert didn't mention is he was making so many pizzas. And we live in downtown Chicago in a high-rise apartment building.
Oh, so we're not in the suburbs here.
No, we're downtown.
A big sprawling property. You're in a high-rise downtown. How are you cooking the pizzas? What kind of oven?
We had an awesome oven. We had a gas oven, a convection oven. I mean, we made this pizza in a home oven.
Wow.
Our recipe comes out of a home kitchen. So the fact that, Robert loves talking about our 3-dough recipe that we made at home, that's what we've scaled at the restaurant today. So it's the same.
It's exactly the same. I mean, most people, like for home bakers, they're always trying to replicate a commercial oven. Like, how do I get the best pizza oven in my kitchen?
Yeah.
Whereas for us, it's the opposite. We
You,
had
like,
a home
reverse
oven
engineered
where
it.
we had a great home oven that we worked in. So when we were opening the restaurant looking for equipment, I was looking for something that would mimic my home oven. I didn't want the traditional commercial ovens. So we used to take our dough to the restaurant shows where they would have the pizza ovens set up.
Yeah.
And I would go in and test, in an afternoon, six different ovens.
And then the other thing we did is we took our dough everywhere. Anywhere that we would be able to find an oven just to test it, we would do that. And then when we would drive back drive to New York from Chicago, we would stay with friends along the way, and we had a trunk full of dough. We traveled everywhere with dough. We made pizzas on boats. We made pizzas up in the mountains. So, it was our calling card. Everywhere we went, we brought the dough.
So I love that, by the way. I love that kind of grassroots effort to make something happen. But I guess the theory of it's all about the water doesn't really hold true. Because everyone says you can't replicate bagels and pizza from the East Coast anywhere else. But you're making phenomenal things in the Midwest. So it's really about the person and the technique more than anything.
I think that's a large part of it. New York has incredible water. There's literally a tunnel that brings fresh water into New York from the mountains. So New York tap water is mountain water. It's the one city in the world where I don't order bottled water at a restaurant. I always get the tap because the water is so incredible.
And because it's $14 a bottle here.
That's true. But you don't need to drink bottled water in New York City. I think the biggest issue really is filtering the water, reducing the chlorine in your water. That has the biggest impact on the recipe. So we do use our
So you use a filtered water?
Yes.
We don't want to give all the secrets away here, but is there any other secrets to the success of your dough?
We created, as part of the process of working the recipe at home, we created a wild yeast sourdough starter from Chicago. So our pizza truly is a Chicago born and raised. So we were able, over about an 8-week period, you can capture it just using flour and water. That's the easy part. Keeping it alive for 20 years on our kitchen table, that was the challenge. Many people get excited about starters. They keep them for a month or two, maybe a year or two. But it's something you have to feed every day. It's not a big deal. It's just flour and water, but it's a daily chore. So we managed to do that for 20 years, and now it's the base of our recipe.
So your starter is 20 years old?
Probably almost 30 now. But, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know any place doing it like that.
So, but it's, then that's the starter from our home kitchen.
That's great.
Created.
Okay, you know what I'm really impressed with more than anything? The fact that you guys work together in life and in business. And that's really not easy to do. And I have an appreciation for that because my parents do the same thing. It takes a certain kind of person to be able to talk business, talk life, and marry them both when you need to, but also keep it separate. How has that been for you guys working together the last, 20 years or so?
We collaborate really well. And I think that's what brought us together decades ago. We just like each other's company. We collaborate really well. We each have our own skill set. Right. So we're not stepping on each other's toes. And when you're in a business like a restaurant and
high pressure,
one person can't do everything.
Yeah.
And so I would like to think that, we both carry the same amount of weight, but it's in our own lane, and together is what creates the experience of the restaurant. I would say that would be part of it. And it's not like we stay in our lane. We definitely will cross over. I will have ideas for pizzas and flavor profiles that I think we should explore, and then Robert will put it together, and then together we'll discuss what works, what doesn't work, and we bring the team in. So it's a real collaborative environment that we have created because I think that's how we excel together as a team.
And there's so much history of us working together. We're very fortunate. It's very unusual. We recognize that. But years ago when we both have backgrounds in the arts. I have a background as a playwright from Carnegie Mellon, and Dana has a background as an artist from Parsons. And in Pittsburgh, we actually ran a multimedia performance space in Pittsburgh for 4 years, which was just really incredible. And we literally have worked like desk to desk, shoulder to shoulder for probably 30 years now.
Wow, you do your best work together.
Yeah, we do.
That's really special.
I think we really have distinct skills that blend really well.
Let's talk about why you're in New York this week. The big reveal.
Sure. So we received an award from 50 Top Pizza, which is a organization based in Naples, Italy, that rank pizzas all around the world. They rank them in many countries. And they do a ranking here in the U.S., 50 Top Pizza. And we were awarded 8th place last night.
Wow.
Which is very exciting. And we've been on that list now 6 years.
6
This
years.
is the sixth time we've been on that
2021.
list.
Yeah.
So we're
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It's humbling and a thrill. And what it does, it just inspires our team. This is hard work. I mean, anyone who's in the restaurant business knows. And then in the pizza space, it's just the labor of love is real. And it just makes us really proud.
And now you get to go to Naples, right?
Yes.
When does that happen?
So we head there in September, and there's an award ceremony for the top 100 pizzas of the world from 50 Top Pizza. So now they take the best pizzas of each of their lists that they've created in each country, and they take the top 100 and rank them. So we're looking forward to Naples in September.
Oh, I mean, is there any better month to go to Italy than September? That's perfect.
I don't think. Is there a bad month to go to Italy? I'm always
there's
happy
not
to
a
be
bad
there.
month, but September is definitely like the best month. Oh man, I'm jealous. I'm really jealous. When we come back, we're diving deeper into the business side of hospitality, what it really takes to build a restaurant concept in one of the most competitive food cities in America, how social media changed dining culture forever, and why Chicago may quietly be the true culinary capital of the country. Stay with us. You're listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970 The Answer.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970, The Answer.
Welcome back to the show. Tonight we're talking all things pizza, hospitality, and the incredible culinary energy coming out of Chicago with Dana Hoken and Robert Garvey from Robert's Pizza and Dough Company. And honestly, the more I explore Chicago's dining scene on this show, the more fascinated I become by how much innovation is happening there without losing that sense of authenticity and soul. Dana and Robert, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
You know what I think we should talk about? You opened Robert's Pizza and Dough Company officially outside of your home kitchen right before the pandemic. That's a wild card, right? How did you make it through?
It was truly an incredible challenge to, in the life of a restaurant. We were open in June of 19, and then everything closed in March of 20. And that's just kind of when the restaurants kind of figure out if you're going to make it, how things are going. You're in a very fragile place with the opening of a restaurant. And to suddenly have our doors closed, it was like, how are we going to survive this? So it was a huge challenge getting through that.
Well, we learned that pizza became pandemic proof, right? In our restaurant, we had built in a dedicated to-go window. That had already been part of our vision for the restaurant, and it really served us well because we're in basically the basement of a old industrial building that has been converted into residential. So there were all these rental apartments above us. And that was the reason for designing the to-go window the way we did, because we felt, hey, if we lived in this building, we would want to come down in our sweats and be able to just pick up pizza and not have to walk through a restaurant. Yeah. And, so we had built that in. And when we were, March 2020, we were shut down. We literally leaned into what it was that we were permitted to do, right? It was a very...
Was Chicago strict? Like New York was strict, very strict. Florida had no rules. What was Chicago like?
Very strict.
It was to-go only. When we were considered like an essential service, so we were able to continue our to-go business. But there was absolutely no dining, no outdoor dining. Unfortunately, we had to, lay off all of our front-of-the-house staff at the time. We kept a bare-bones kitchen to handle the to-go operation, and it turned out it was just enough to keep the lights on.
And to keep that starter going.
That's right.
Keep the starter going. And because of our location, we're really close to Northwestern Hospital, and we were feeding a lot of the first responders. So I think that helped keep our kitchen active. And I don't know, we only had 4 or 5 people. You, me, and like a team of 3.
It was very lean.
Yeah.
For the first few months, it was extraordinarily challenging. And then when they reopened outdoor dining in June, we didn't have a patio our first season out.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, so it wasn't set up yet.
Because you have a very robust, beautiful patio now.
So now, once they closed things down and realizing that outdoor dining was going to, be the answer, we quickly got our patio together. And when they reopened outdoor dining in June, we were in a really good position where we were fortunate enough to have that patio and the outdoor dining.
Thank God.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say, but what the pandemic did provide for us was an opportunity, because we were not known. During the pandemic, we were able to get word out that, hey, we're cooking, we have pizza, and
Great pizza.
And we wanted the community to know about it. So we really were very active in getting word out to all the buildings in the area. Hotels, we have a lot of hotels in our area, and all the food and beverage operations there had shut down, but they still had guests. So we were able to start developing relationships with the hotels, and these are relationships that we have today.
That's great.
And that was, I think, one of the opportunities,
Yeah, the catalyst to really help drive the business more.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've talked a little bit about the food, but we haven't talked about the atmosphere, the interior, which is so stunningly beautiful. What was your design philosophy? I know that one corner, we didn't sit over there when I went, but I saw like Polaroid pictures on the wall along banquettes in the corner.
So we have actually Dana has, I gave it to her as a gift. She has a 1966 Mustang convertible.
Oh, very nice gift.
Which we drove out to Idaho back in '97. And Dana shot 1,000 Polaroids on that trip.
Wow.
So when we were designing the restaurant, Dana pulled those out and said, hey, let's use these for the...
So those are real pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think, we always have talked about pizza as a journey. And the way in which we build our pizzas, the way that, the toppings are on the slice really speaks to our belief that every time you take a bite, the experience changes, the flavor profile changes. So by the time you have completed your slice, you've gone on this journey. And since this was how we talked about it at home, I felt it was really important for us to anchor it in something familiar to us, something that was an extension of who we are, and road trips are big for us. I remembered, oh my gosh, we have all these photos. Let's take a look at it, and let's look at them. And that became the palette and the patina of the restaurant. The textures that we picked all come from the road trip, the Mustang.
I think that's so special and unique. Where else have you taken road trips?
We did a lot of trips through Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont. When we took this trip, Missoula, Montana, and Wyoming, and South Dakota.
So you get around.
Oh, yeah. And California. We've done the whole coast of California.
You got to do the whole coast of Italy when you're there.
We've done a lot. Oh, my gosh. I could tell the story. Last year, we got stuck at the toll booth leaving Turin, right? Is that what happened? We've had some very fun stories where I think it was
not being able to speak the language became a challenge at the toll booth.
But it's fun driving in Italy. Yeah.
I will never drive in another country. I'm a passenger princess, 100%. And when I travel, I always go with my friend Tiffany. We're both single. We have the means to travel. So she's my European travel buddy. And whenever we go, she just knows she's the driver, and I'm not even good with the directions. I just sit there and take pictures the whole time. That's my role on every trip.
Well, I believe in that. That's a valid role. Yeah. And it's important.
The content creator of the group.
Exactly. You have to document these experiences.
That's right. Hear that, Tiffany? Thank you. Let's talk about the menu development outside of the pizza philosophy that we've kind of discussed a little bit. What's in that brain of yours, Robert? Because I can tell you're a creative guy. You have unique things on the menu, like that Peking duck pizza that I haven't had yet because I heard it's only seasonal. But like when you're deciding to put something on the menu, where are you being inspired from?
What I like doing is when I go to a restaurant and if I have a great meal, the first thing I start thinking about is how do I adapt this to a pizza? And, doing that kind of food like a Peking duck and turning it into a pizza is very different than have a Peking duck. In fact, for my birthday, we went to the Peking Duck House down on Mott Street just last weekend, which is one of my favorite restaurants in New York. It's been there for such a long time. When we're at a restaurant, if I have something that I really like, I immediately start thinking, how do I adapt this? And working on a pizza versus dinner plate is very different. That's kind of where we sort of find our inspiration. Like for our Lunar New Year, we did a dumpling with pizza dough, and we were able to figure out how to keep it really thin. So we used a hot press on the dough, so it actually kills the yeast, so it won't rise when you cook it.
There's science behind this.
Yeah, and then we did a steamed bun. We did a nice bao sandwich with pork, and then of course the Peking duck. And we just really like having a lot of fun. One of my favorite pizzas on our menu is our fennel pizza. I love fennel. I grew up with it. My grandfather always loved fennel. It was always a specialty, particularly at Thanksgiving. But how many different ways can we use a fennel bulb? So we braise it, we pickle it. There's a local salumi maker in Chicago that makes a fennel salumi for us. Then we bake it off, and then we finish it with fennel fronds, pollen, and honey.
Oh my
and the
gosh.
honey just pulls that together. And it sounds like it's a lot of fennel, but it's not, because each part of the plant is a little bit different, and the way prepared is different. So it's an incredible pizza.
What is your favorite pizza, Dana?
Well, the fennel pizza is up there, but it really depends on the day. So,
it's like picking your favorite child, right? Like you can't choose.
I love our margarita pizza.
That's the classic. That's the base, right? You got to start with that first and try that.
Yeah, the margarita pizza. And then the margarita with our homemade crumbled sausage is incredible. I'm responsible for the cup and char pizza being on the menu. Maybe it dates back to my childhood, but pepperoni pizza,
it's a classic.
It's a classic. It's comfort food. And our pepperoni pizza story is pretty funny because Robert historically has not been a fan of pepperoni.
Is this true, Robert?
It actually is.
And this was a pandemic thing.
I always felt that pepperoni overwhelmed everything, so you didn't really taste the sauce or the cheese or the dough. All you had was the pepperoni. But Dana,
in May of 2020,
the wise woman that she is,
in May of 2020, I basically put my foot down and I said, look, I love our soppressata, but that is not a pepperoni pizza. And I said, we're in a crisis. It's pandemic. We need pepperoni pizza, the comfort food. So we found 20, 30 different pepperonis.
Yes.
And taste tested every single one of them in May of 2020 before we ended up with the one we have.
And you chose very well. I love the cup and char.
Yeah.
So good. All right, let's talk a little bit about Chicago. What do you think Chicago specifically gets right about dining culture as a whole?
What we love about Chicago is there's excuse the pun, a genuine appetite for innovation in the culinary space.
Absolutely.
And there's an audience, there's enthusiasm, there's support for it, there's excitement. And I think when you have an environment where you have a community that says, hey, bring it, I want to check it out. And I think that's one of Chicago's greatest attributes within the
community. I mean, listen, obviously we're a fan of Gibson's on the show. I had Steve Lombardo III on and everything he does with his brand. But there are so many just special places, unique places that honestly give New York a run for its money. I'm almost more excited about what's going on in Chicago now than I am in New York.
But there's a lot of emerging culinary creatives, and I think that's something that Chicago has. And New York certainly has it too, but the barrier to entry isn't perhaps maybe as big, the possibility to do this. I mean, for us to say, let's bring this pizza to market. I mean, in retrospect, that sounded it's crazy that we did say that, but we felt really strongly about what we could contribute. And we also felt that the pizza spectrum is a wide spectrum. And so we felt we had like a little niche. So we didn't think we would be stepping on anybody's toes.
No. And you know what? When I went there that day, it was a Saturday afternoon, maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock after this boat tour, place was packed. Inside, and it was cold out. Outside, there was people sitting out there. I mean, you have created a really nice buzz around your pizza. Coming up next, we're getting personal. We'll talk about legacy, pressure, burnout, creativity, and what keeps passionate hospitality people inspired in an industry that never slows down. Plus, we'll talk about why restaurants matter so much emotionally in people's lives. Don't go anywhere. More with Dana Hoken and Robert Garvey after the break.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate, on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970. The Answer.
Welcome back to the show. Tonight's conversation has really highlighted something I love about hospitality, the fact that restaurants are so much bigger than the food. They become part of people's routines, celebrations, memories, first dates, family traditions, even personal milestones, and that emotional connection is what separates truly special concepts from ordinary ones. Dana, Robert, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
Thank you.
What's been one of the proudest moments for you personally since opening?
I think there are many. Clearly getting through the difficulties of opening a restaurant, reopening it after COVID, and being recognized by 50 Top Pizza is just really an incredible achievement for us and for our team. None of this is possible without our team. They really are incredible. So
I did hear you throw a pretty wicked holiday party for your staff.
We do. Annually, we charter one of the architectural tour boats, and we get a DJ.
Nice.
And we put our staff on, and we have a 3-hour dance party
So
up
it's
the
a
river.
booze cruise?
Basically.
Yes.
With buildings in the background.
That's right.
Perfect.
Indeed.
But we do enjoy that, and the team clearly deserves it. They're such an incredible team, and we're very fortunate to have them.
Who has the job of feeding that starter when you're in Naples or traveling or whatever?
My right-hand man, which is a fellow named Robert Henley, who's just been incredible.
And getting back to the proud moments, one of the things that Robert and I said, when we decided to open up east of Michigan Avenue. So this is an area of Chicago that is not historically known for having independent, missing kind of a local neighborhood place. We have some really fine restaurants and restaurants in various hotels, but we didn't have like a local neighborhood place. So when we opened Robert's, and part of our vision was we really wanted to create a neighborhood spot. We wanted to create a place where people in the community would call it their own. It was their, pizzeria, their, local restaurant where they could go multiple times a week. And that was part of our vision. And so I would say one of our sources of pride and a proud moment is when we've begun to recognize that the community has embraced Robert's as theirs. When we hear people say, oh, I live, where Robert's is? That's where I live.
Right. You're the reference point.
And we became a destination. And I think that is a huge source of pride.
Absolutely. Is there like a guest interaction that, you'll never forget?
How about Bill?
Who's Bill?
Bill Murray.
Oh, Bill Murray. We were just talking about Bill Murray today, Pagano and I. That's so funny that you bring him up.
Yeah, Bill's been in a few times. He's a big fan. He brought his family in after a basketball game that his son was coaching, and he just absolutely loved it. He gave us this incredible shout-out in the middle of an interview on local TV in Chicago. He just stopped the interview and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Robert's Pizza?
Wow.
I think it's the best pizza I've ever had." I was like, wow.
There you go.
So it's incredible. But I think, I think Dana's, the idea of like having a neighborhood place is a great achievement. Before we were there, that location had been unused for 20 years. Ooh. It used to be a storeroom for a great grocery store called Fox and O'Bell. Our beautiful patio was a dog run. People thought we were a little crazy to go back on the back of a building. And when we went around the corner, we saw the sunlight, we saw the water, we saw the dock. We think we have a good pizza. It's like, we can make this work.
Yeah, I mean, when you go there, you feel like it's just been there forever, right? It's beautiful. Hospitality, as we know, I've worked in the industry, it can be exhausting, right? What keeps the passion alive for you?
I love to feed people. At the end of the day, food has always been a critically important part of my life. Even when I was a kid, I used to like taking my friends out for lunch if I could, put a few dollars together. I'd go buy tuna fish sandwiches or Cokes, whatever, at the local diner. And over the years, I've always recognized that food brings everybody together. When I was in the Merchant Marine, if I'd get on a ship, you could tell the quality of the ship based on the quality of the food. There were ships I was on where peanut butter and jelly was the main course and the only thing worth eating. And that was not a good ship, and the crew was not happy. And then there were other ships where we'd have roast duck dinner. Those were great ships.
And you want to work harder.
And people were happy because the meals really set the tone.
Right.
And that's kind of what I've learned over the years. It really sets the tone. And it's such an important part of, friendships and communities, et cetera.
So that makes me think, in every restaurant you're served family meal for the staff right before or after a shift. You must be serving like Peking duck. What is the staff at Robert's eating?
We do a lot of different things, from our pastas to the pizzas. We have 2 family meals a day.
2 family meals.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
I mean, the nice thing about, I think, our pizza is that you can eat it every day. Like, I do eat it every day, and I miss it when I don't.
I would too. Should we do a little bit of a rapid fire round to close out our segment? So this is for both of you. If you opened a second Robert's tomorrow in another city, where would that be? You don't have to agree on this, by the way.
Where would you like to go?
New York City.
I certainly would be interested in New York City.
Yeah, that would be fun for us.
But would it be Manhattan, or would you go like Brooklyn because you guys used to live in Red Hook?
Red Hook would be a terrific location.
Yeah.
In fact, when we were down there, back in the days when we lived there, that waterfront was ours. We were the only people there. It was just incredible. So to kind of go back there and open a great pizza place, that would be...
It's like a real homecoming story.
That would be a lot of fun, yeah.
I like that. In your restaurant, what's the best seat in the house?
Every seat.
Every seat. I like sitting at the bar because you get to really talk with the bartenders. We have great seats in the window. Probably if I'm picking a table for 4 people, one of the tables right in the window is what I really love. But of course, out on the dock, down on the dock,
nice.
you can't beat that. You're on the water. You've got a beautiful view. We've got southern exposure, sunlight. As I like to say, the weather's always a little nicer at Roberts, and it's true. Because we're below the wind, the way we're protected behind the building, and we have direct sunlight. So when the rest of Chicago is a little bit cool because they're in the shade or they're windy, you come around the corner and it's like, wow, it's different here.
But I would say that there's so many different experiences you can have in our restaurant. So you might choose the dock at one point, but then sitting in the dining room and watching the guys stretch the dough. And I mean, you have a very different experience. So I think that's what makes our place fun.
When I went there, it was that very cold day. So the last thing we wanted was to be anywhere by the front door. So we asked to sit inside in the dining room, tucked in a little corner banquette, and it was so nice. And, open kitchen so you can see everything. It was really special. But it just has this very just convivial, warm atmosphere.
Our guests love sitting right next to the dough table and watching the guys stretch all those pieces.
That's the table I want next time I come, okay? Please, save it for me. Okay, one thing every great restaurant must have besides good food.
Clarity of vision. I don't know if you saw on the wall, we have love dough responsibly.
That's the mantra.
That is our mantra. That comes from making sure everyone on our team remembers how important the dough is and how we treat the dough and respect the process. Very important. And, and remember that we're in the business of delivering a great care for experience for our guests. So I would say clarity of vision is really key.
I don't know what made me just think of this. I think you guys should sell part of your sourdough starter. Like feed it, cut off a piece, and let people buy that. I mean, a 20-year, 30-year sourdough starter, that's remarkable. People would pay top dollar for that.
I like that.
Part of the merch.
That's right.
And then we could tag it Love Dough Responsibly.
Exactly.
Right? Got it.
Okay, yeah. Deep dish or tavern-style pizza?
Tavern.
Yeah, deep dish, is that even pizza? It's like a Freaking savory pie.
It's a little more touristy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean,
I've had it one time at Luminaldi's, which isn't even the one you're supposed to go to, I think, right? There's that other place.
Giordano's,
I think it is.
Luminaldi's, Labriola does a really nice deep dish.
They do.
They do a really nice.
Do you ever like moonlight and do a deep dish special ever?
No, but we have done Detroit pizza. On Tuesday nights during the winter season, we do a Detroit pizza, which is a nice, very, very light, fluffy dough that's cooked in a blue steel pan with a crispy cheddar cheese edge to it. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds delicious. Okay, if Roberts had a soundtrack, what would it sound like?
I've got to give this one to Dana.
Oh no! So I will disclose two things. The dough has a soundtrack, and it is Bob Dylan's album "Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid." The dough was completely created to that entire soundtrack.
Every time I would make the dough,
right question.
Yeah.
every time I made the dough, I would put that soundtrack on, and to me, it became like Translate, and then getting into the dough. So literally.
So we do have a soundtrack, and it's funny you ask this because I've been working on developing playlists for all of our pizzas. I think it's really important that, for me, like the cup and char pizza, I think...
What's the soundtrack for that?
It's Jimi Hendrix, Fire. I just love that. But then, Barry White comes into play for some of our other pizzas. But for Roberts, it's really, if you had to go to like one album, it would be Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. So highly recommend it if people don't know it.
Are you putting a playlist together on like Spotify or something?
So this has been a side project of mine for the last few months, and I've been really trying to curate a soundtrack for each pie. So yes, eventually it will be.
This is awesome.
Go live.
Okay, last question. Favorite menu item, and then I'm going to tell you mine, even though I said duck prosciutto, but it's one I haven't had yet, which is the Laksa pizza. That, you can talk about it, but I'm dying to try that.
Yeah, I shared our
Off
lox.
air.
Yep, our lox pizza, which we only have available during brunch. And it was our homage to lox and bagels. And I highly recommend it.
You're smoking the salmon in-house?
No, we're not smoking the salmon in-house, but we could. I know
Robert's like, great, another thing on the to-do list.
But it's a neighborhood favorite. And I mentioned our other neighborhood favorite for Saturday and Sundays, which is the Huevos Rancheros pizza. But Robert's favorite item on the menu
on the brunch menu
okay.
is our French toast.
You're kidding.
I take pizza dough and we bake it off into Dutch oven loaves, and then we slice it up for French toast and serve it with fresh cream berries and Vermont maple syrup. It is killer French toast.
It sounds killer.
But if I had to pick a pizza, it would be the one I named after my mom, which is called the Rita, which is a classic margarita. It's got Italian buffalo mozzarella, fresh basil, a house-made red sauce. But what makes it stand out is a 3-hour slow-roasted plum tomato that we pre-roast, chop it up, sprinkle it on the pie. The tomato flavor is incredible.
All right, but shout out to our daughter, Leah, because the Leah is our cheese pizza, and it was the only pizza she would eat forever.
Good answer, because if I was your daughter listening and I had a pizza named after me and it wasn't one of your favorites, I'd have some things to say after the show.
She knows.
It's a great pizza.
Okay, this has been so special. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you for listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. on AM 970 The Answer. What a fantastic conversation tonight with Dana Hoken and Robert Garvey from Robert's Pizza and Dough Company. Tonight really enforced something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Great restaurants aren't just places to eat. They're places that create atmosphere, memory, identity, and connection. And cities like Chicago continue to prove that some of the most exciting hospitality in America happens when craftsmanship meets authenticity. There's a reason I keep coming back to Chicago on this show. The city has heart and grit. It has incredible culinary talent. And most importantly, it has people who genuinely care about hospitality. Be sure to check out Robert's Pizza and Dough Company the next time you're in Chicago, located at 465 North McClurg Court. And if you missed any part of tonight's episode, you can always catch the podcast version afterward. And next week, we continue the conversation around food culture and the people shaping the hospitality industry in truly meaningful ways. I'll be joined by barbecue master Brad Prose, creator of the viral smash burger taco and author of epic barbecue sandwiches. We're kicking off the summer grilling season with a real pro here. That's the show. Thanks for listening and have a great night.
The preceding program is sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.
When the world is just too much, turn it off and turn on positive, encouraging K-Love.
I'm gonna praise.
World off, K-Love on.
K-Love is sunshine for my soul.
I love K-Love.
Listen now on your radio, online, or on the free K-Love app.
K-Love makes me feel so good.
Positive